has died. Definitely, something has died. But it is still infilled with life. Why? Because out of the tomb comes resurrection in every natural way. And resurrection does not come out of nowhere. It comes because life is there, because there is no place where life is not. So there cannot be a tomb without life in it. There has to be life. And that is the seed of the resurrection. You see? And so going back to see what the tomb is and what has died will help us to see what the new creation now must start to look like. What is our tomb made of? Why? Our fear. It's anger. It's depression. Dead-end job. Addiction. Loveless relationships, strained family relationships. It's everything. It's anything. It's whatever it is that has stopped us in our tracks or made us doubt ourselves, has scared us, or just put us into a sense of despair. Whatever that is the tomb of the moment. It is the limitation, and it is definitely not the truth. It is not the truth of you. It is not the truth of me. The tomb is merely the covering over the seed of the next explosion of life. That's what it is. In spite of all of this, hope is the tiny light shining in the dark. Marion Bond West shares, "I now have a homeless son. I recently had to accept that truth. My twin sons, John and Jeremy, have led troubled, often dangerous lives for years. Drugs, alcohol, imprisonment, mental illnesses have plagued them. John sleeps at a homeless shelter and walks to First Presbyterian Church to receive a big breakfast, a sermon, and his mail each Sunday. He calls me when he can borrow a friend's cell phone. And through it all, John remains optimistic. He gets that from his father, not from me. Most of my life, I've battled fearful thoughts. I can send him a debit card in care of the church, but he doesn't seem to want or need very much. He assures me he loves us, but he doesn't want to see us, not now." He phoned one day. "It's John, Mom," as if I couldn't recognize my son's voice. He was joyful as usual. "I have a chest x-ray, Mom. My TB test didn't come back right. I can walk to a clinic in 2 weeks. I'm sure it'll be fine." So I called all our family to pray and battled my negative thinking. 2 weeks, 4 days passed. I answered the phone early one Monday, a week before Easter. The voice asked, "Hey, how are you?" "John?" "Yeah, it's me, Mom. I'm good. How about you?" "My chest x-ray was fine. I now have to get a driver's license for $25. I'll put a gift debit card in the mail to you." "Oh, thanks, Mom. As soon as I get my license, I believe I'll have a job and a place to live with a buddy." You never give up hoping, do you, son? Oh, of course not. You have to hang on to hope. "I love you, Mom. Oh, happy Easter." Henry David Thoreau says, "We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn." An infinite expectation of the dawn. No matter how dark that tomb is, or how dark it looks for those we love, right? Life is, as long as we're breathing air, there's still something more. There is still life ready to explode out. It's still something to be revealed. It is up to us to nurture that seed, to look for that light. It is important for us to be realistic and to see things as they are and to do the practical right things, but it is not ours to give up. It is ours to continue to nurture that seed of light and to believe and to trust that something greater than us can see something we can't see yet, but we are ready to receive. Easter reminds us that there is life in the tomb and after the tomb. The life force that exists in all things, flowers in the crack of the sidewalk. I have trouble keeping flowers alive on my desk when it's got everything it needs and it's right there and all I need to do is add water. That is a struggle. And you know what? There are flowers in the crack of the sidewalk right now. How did they get there? How does that work? How does it happen that life will find its way out in every condition and situation, and definitely in us, through us, because that's our purpose. Amen. And it will not be thrown aside or blocked or obstructed. We are not even that powerful to turn it off and decide against it. It will still find its way out in us somehow. When we emerge from the tomb is when we wake up to the new life. But we are not the same one who entered the tomb. The tomb has done a number on us. It has transformed us. It has healed us. It has called something else out of us. And we have to learn to walk all over again. Jack Kornfield says, those who are awake live in a constant state of amazement. A constant state of amazement, not know-it-allness. Didn't we think, enlightenment? You're going to have all the answers. You're going to have it all figured out. You're going to, you can look pityingly upon people who still question and get into the travails of everyday life because you've got it all figured out. That's what you want. That's what I wanted. It's easy to know for other people, let me just say that. That's the first thing you get to have. But then you realize that that isn't even it, and that isn't even always right, and that isn't even yours, unless they need it from you. The deal here is that amazement is that life is already being revealed, and we only see bits and pieces of it, only parts of it, only what our worldview allows us. It is up to us. Awake means we start and pull the blinders off. We stop looking at it the old way. We become like children, amazed, full of joy, full of wonder, full of possibilities. So what does it mean to be awake? Let's think about Mary Magdalene. One of the Easter stories is Mary Magdalene going to the tomb and to find that the tomb is empty, and to find an angel telling her to go and tell the others that he is risen, he's not here. And she stumbles out into the garden trying to grasp what that means. Where did they move him? And she encounters Jesus, but she doesn't even recognize him. And he says, "What are you looking for? Why are you crying?" She says, They have taken my Lord, and they have moved him. If you know where they've taken him, please tell me. She thinks he's the gardener until he calls her name. And then the blinders fall from her eyes, and she sees Jesus, the one she's looking for, the one she wants to see. How many times are we blocked from the thing we say we want, that we are looking for, that we want in our lives, and somehow we can't see it because it's not coming the way we thought. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's not what we wanted it to be. We certainly didn't want it to come that way or from that person or on that day. We want it when we want it as we think it's going to be, because we think enlightenment is ascended control of everything. But that's what ego does. And ego's not the right way to go. Ego serves the highest thought, the greatest spirit. It's got a purpose. It ain't to be in charge. The way that we become awake is to stop blocking what we don't understand. Stop blocking and try to understand, opening ourselves, being willing to see what is just as it is, not as we would have it be, want it to be, thought it would be, talked about it being. Don't ignore it. Don't walk away from it. Look it in the eye, engage it, and try to learn as much as you can about it, whatever it is. Because this is going to be your teacher and your friend. Easter grass. When I was little, my mother would lay down to take a nap in the afternoons. And I would be confined with my 3 brothers and sister to the backyard, chain link fence, in the heat of the summer or whatever. And we were supposed to go out and play, but no friends could come over. And of course, yes, we had no, other entertainment. We just had sticks and rocks and, toys, I guess. But, we'd already played with those. So really, there was nothing to do in the backyard. I want to go to Carol Ann's house, but I can't. Mom's laying down. And so I remember just retracing my steps over the entire yard. I knew that yard. I knew every square inch of it. I knew what grew where. I knew where the weeds were. I knew where the grass was. I knew where the dirt was. I knew where everything, sticks and stone. I knew everything. And then glistening over there was this shiny thing, and I walked over to see what was in my territory that I hadn't seen before, and I pull it up, and it is a piece of Easter grass. Easter grass in July. How long has that been there? How did it get there? How did Easter grass get in my yard, this place I play all the time, and I know everything, and then... Is it possible the Easter Bunny's coming twice in 1 year? Is this possible that something amazing is going to happen? I get excited. Easter grass, that's what it means. This idea that something different can happen, that something new is being created, that something that we didn't expect could be happening, could have been there all along, but we have to have eyes to see. We have to be able to integrate and to understand something new is happening. We make meaning, awakened people make meaning out of fragments, meaning in abstract patterns, using symbols. Start to see how things are going together. Begin to lift up out of the quid pro quo, out of the everyday, and look above and try to piece together and see, make meaning. This is what it means. I thought it was going to be this. It's going to be more like that. It's coming. You're living a new life. Don't expect the same road signs. You're a new thing. You're a new creation. Edward B. Lindemann said, one of life's most fulfilling moments occurs in the split second when the familiar is suddenly transformed into the dazzling aura of the profoundly new. That's what we're here for. The most fulfilling moment comes when you suddenly have a flash of insight and you see it for what it is, right? Been there, done that. Nurture those moments, remember them. W.B. Yeats says, the world is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper, for us to see it, for us to notice, for us to call it, for us not to overlook it any longer, for us to grow sharper. Marcel Proust, the voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Because now everything becomes new. Because everything becomes a discovery. Because everything serves. And even if you've seen this before, you haven't been who you are now, seeing it now. You get that? Let go of some of those conclusions. It is the booby prize is knowing everything, having it all figured out is the booby prize. It is not the way of a spiritual life, because a spiritual life is always amazed, always in wonder. After the resurrection, the disciples began looking within themselves for the Christ and not in the outward form of Jesus. This really came from Peter, because one of the other stories after the resurrection was that the women had come to the tomb met the angel, went back to the apostles and told them that Jesus had been moved, his body wasn't there, they said he'd risen. And all of the other apostles dismissed the women as nonsense. They just said, oh, that's not true, that's not what happened. We put him in the tomb, we know he was dead. And Peter leapt to his feet and ran all the way to the tomb to see for himself. Why do you think he did that? Because you see, Peter was the one they were turning to now. He was the one who needed to have the answer. What now, Peter? What do we do now? How do we go from here? And Peter didn't know. He didn't know what was inside of him. He was still looking for Jesus. And I'll tell you what, if Jesus could be found, Peter was going to find him because he needed that. And it was in confronting the empty tomb that he began to realize that wasn't going to happen. And that beginning of finding the Christ within for guidance and to discern the way had to start inside. And it had to start where he was. Butterflies. You know, they're associated with resurrection, right? We're always talking about, the transformation of the caterpillar, that's what it is, caterpillar into this beautiful butterfly. That's what we're doing. We're wonderful creations. But I'm picturing myself as that caterpillar in the chrysalis, this muck and guck where everything is completely taken apart, completely transformed into an entirely new body for an entirely different purpose than before. And even as the brain gets resituated in this new body, trapped in this now very, very tight chrysalis, and all of a sudden appendages that shouldn't be there are starting to poke through and itch. I think they're itchy. That's what I decided. Wings have to be itchy and a little prickly and a little hard and what are they doing? They're in the way. They're making me hold myself different. And so there's all of this struggle to get out of this tight space with this thing back here. What is this struggle? The struggle is getting used to this new experience and these new skills and this new set of wings for this amazing purpose that I have yet to know. And the only way for them to be strengthened is to struggle. You can't help me with that. You can tell me that's what it's about, and I have to just struggle, but I have to find my way out. Because it's in the struggle that I become fully formed, that I become fully available and fully ready to do what I'm here to do, and you too. It doesn't mean we don't need friends, or that we don't need mentors, or that we don't need help. But ultimately, it's got to be our journey, and we're the ones. Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, her grandfather was a Jewish rabbi, but he was also a Jewish mystic, the Kabbalah. And she was very, very young when he did a lot of teaching with her. And he talked to her and told her about some of the ways in which creation happened. And one of the things that she learned through the years, and probably after his death as she got older and got more interested in Jewish mysticism herself, was this teaching on tikkun olam, which is this way of how it is that we as human beings are here to repair the world. And how the myth goes, at least one version of it in the 16th century, is that the pure light from which all creation comes, the pure emanation of white light comes from an infinite source, is an infinite, penetrates everything. That the container in which this white light, this light exists, broke. And shards and sparks of light flew in all directions, into everything, into every person, into all that is. And it became and has become the work of humanity to come together, each and every person to play their role in revealing that holy spark inside of themselves and recognizing and blessing it in each other, in one another, and in everything that we experience, so that we can repair the world, tikkun olam, which is to repair the world. She says, in talking of a particularly dark time in her life, a friend of mine once told me that in the depths of her alcoholism, a thought had occurred to her and proved to be a turning point. What if her struggle to find a way to live beyond her addiction had a deeper meaning? She had been living in darkness for many years. What if she was the only person in the world who could redeem this bit of goodness in this particular piece of darkness? This task might be hers alone. In some larger, more mysterious sense, it might be her life's service. This thought had lifted her sense of guilt and shame and dignified her struggle. It had given her a power she had not been able to find elsewhere. She wonders now if everyone's struggle to overcome whatever diminishes them and live whole has this same meaning. Tikkun Olam points to the value of every life. Rachel says, my grandfather explained this to me when I was very small. He said, we need to remember to bless the life around us and within us, Nishumale. When we bless others, we free the goodness in them and in ourselves. When we bless life, we restore the world. My parents, as socialists, she says, believed in working for the common good, but my grandfather taught me that we bless life because it is holy and because we are holy. Like Jesus after his resurrection, we are all ascending to the Father, to the source of our being. Our souls are all moving higher with each and every round of every tomb we climb out of every situation we finally free ourselves from. We are doing this because we are new beings and we're being recreated every single time we do it. So let yourself know that after resurrection, this is a brand new world, and you are a new creature in it. And so to you I say, happy ever after Easter. God bless you all. Our Spirit Group experience has produced a trio who came together to sing, to play, to dance to this next song. Justine Crick, Anthony White, and Lynn Reynolds, please join me in welcoming them now.
To my knees will I fall. can only imagine when all I would do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah, yeah.
How beautiful that was. Good morning, Unity. So as we prepare our offering, whether it is in the envelopes, outside in the kiosk, or text to give, or online, let us take this time to embrace this moment and let our gratitude for this ministry flow through us with these words. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And know that as we give these gifts unto the world, that is our undue call to God saying, I have more than enough. And so we will embrace that and circulate the good in the world. And so it is. Amen.
How can I say thanks for the things you have done for me? Things so undeserved, yet you gave to prove your love for me. The voices of a million angels cannot express my gratitude. All that I am and ever hope to be, I owe it all to thee. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things He has done. With His love, He has saved me. With His power, He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Just let me live my life and let it be pleasing, Lord, to Thee. Should I gain any praise, let it go to Calvary. Save me with His power. He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things